My name is Evelyn. I live with my husband John and our son Michael. John and I have been married for 10 years. We were happy, or at least we thought we were. We had a nice life, a house, and a garden. John works hard. He is a good father and a good husband. Evelyn pauses, her expression softening as she reflects on the past. Evelyn said, 6 months ago, everything changed. That was when Alexander came into our lives. Act 1. The arrival of Alexander. Scene shifts to an evening at home. Evelyn said, one evening, I came home late from work. John wasn't home. He was still working. Michael was asleep. Alexander was sitting in the kitchen, reading a book. I sat with him, and we talked. He told me about his life. He is from another city and came here for work. He has no family here. He lives alone. That night, we talked for a long time. Alexander looks up from his book, smiling softly. Alexander said, You seem tired tonight, Evelyn. Everything okay? Evelyn said, Just work stress. It's nothing. Evelyn hesitates, then continues. Evelyn said, After that conversation, things started to change. Act 2. The first mistake. One night, John went on a business trip. Evelyn said, It was just me, Michael, and Alexander. On the first night, we had dinner together. After Michael went to bed, I sat with Alexander again. We talked like before. We laughed. He made me feel good. I liked talking to him. Alexander leans closer, his voice soft. Alexander said, You're different from other women, Evelyn. You're strong, but I can see there's sadness behind your eyes. Evelyn said, Don't say things like that, Alexander. I'm married. Alexander doesn't respond but keeps staring at her. The tension grows. Evelyn said, Then something happened. I kissed him. It was just a small kiss, but it felt big. I pulled away immediately and told him it was a mistake. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I felt so bad. I kept thinking about John. What had I done? I loved John. I still do. But something was different now. I had kissed Alexander, and I couldn't take it back. Act 3. The spiral. A few days later, Evelyn said, I promised myself it would never happen again. But a few days later it did. John was still away. I was alone with Alexander. This time, we kissed for a long time. It wasn't just a small kiss, it was real and I didn't stop it. Evelyn looks visibly shaken as she recounts this memory. Evelyn said, Now I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I had a secret and it was big. I didn't want to tell John. He would be so angry. He would never forgive me. But I didn't know how to stop what was happening with Alexander. Every time I saw him, I felt something strong, like a fire inside me. I couldn't control it. Act 4. Living a lie. Days passed. Evelyn said, Days passed, and everything seemed normal on the surface. John didn't know anything. He came home from his trip, and life went on as usual. I cooked dinner. We watched TV, and we played with Michael. But inside, I felt different. I was keeping a secret, and it was heavy. I couldn't tell anyone. John enters the room, smiling warmly at Evelyn. John said, How was your day? Evelyn said, Fine. Yours? John said, Busy as always. Evelyn forces a smile, but her guilt is evident. Evelyn said, Alexander still worked for us. He was good with Michael and always polite to John when we were all together. Everything looked normal. But when John wasn't around, things were different. Alexander and I would look at each other. We didn't talk about what had happened, but we didn't need to. We both knew. Act 5. Discovering John's secret. One night, Evelyn said, One night, I was lying in bed next to John. He was sleeping. I looked at him and felt so sad. He didn't know what I had done. He trusted me. He loved me. And I had broken that trust. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I just lay there, thinking about my mistake. Her phone buzzes quietly on the nightstand. She picks it up and sees a message from Alexander. Message from Alexander. I miss you, Evelyn said. I stared at the screen, my heart racing. I quickly deleted the message, but the guilt weighed heavier than ever. A few weeks later, Evelyn said, a few weeks later something changed. I discovered that John was also hiding something from me. I found messages on his phone. They were from a woman. At first, I was angry. How could he do this to me? I was his wife. But then I realized I had done the same thing. I was no better than him. We were both living a lie. Evelyn confronts John one night after dinner. Evelyn said, John, I need to talk to you. John said, what is it? Evelyn said, I've been seeing someone. John freezes, his expression unreadable. John said, who? Evelyn said, I told him everything. I told him about Alexander, about the kiss, about the nights when he was away. I told him I was sorry, that I loved him. I cried and waited for him to say something. There's a long silence. Finally, John speaks. John said, I've been seeing someone too. Evelyn said, it was my turn to be silent. I didn't know what to say. He explained that it started a few months ago, that he didn't mean for it to happen, but it did. He apologized. Act 6, Rebuilding Trust. They decide to fix their marriage. Evelyn said, we decided to talk, really talk. We talked about our marriage, our mistakes, and what we wanted. It wasn't easy, but we both agreed that we still loved each other. We didn't want to end our marriage. We wanted to try and fix it. The next day, Evelyn lets Alexander go. Evelyn said, Alex, I'm sorry, but we won't be needing your help anymore. Alexander said, is everything all right? Evelyn? Evelyn said, it's complicated. Thank you for everything you've done. Alexander nods silently and leaves. Act 7, Counseling and Growth. Months later, Evelyn said, months passed, and things slowly got better. John and I worked on our marriage. We spent more time together, talked more, and were honest with each other. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. On their anniversary, John surprises Evelyn with a new wedding ring. John said, I want us to start fresh. A new ring for a new start? Evelyn said, tears filled my eyes. I thought about everything we had been through, all the mistakes, all the pain. But now, we had a chance to start over. I love you. John. John said, I love you too. Evelyn. Act 8, Moving Forward. A year later, Evelyn said, 1 year after everything happened, John and I took a trip together, just the two of us. Michael stayed with my sister, and we went to a small beach town for the weekend. It was the first time we'd been alone together in a long time. The scene shifts to a sunset on the beach. Evelyn and John walk hand in hand, laughing and talking. Evelyn said, that trip was good for us. We walked on the beach, had dinner at nice restaurants, and talked about our future. We both agreed that we wanted to stay together. We wanted to make our marriage work. On the last night of the trip, John surprises Evelyn again. John said, Evelyn, there's something I want to say. Evelyn said, what is it? John said, I'm not proud of what I did. I hurt you, and I hurt our family. But I want you to know that I'm committed to us. I'll never let anything come between us again. Evelyn said, I feel the same way. We've both made mistakes, but we've grown because of them. Our marriage isn't perfect, but it's real, and that's what matters. Evelyn said, our home is full of love and laughter now. Michael is growing up fast, and he's happy. He doesn't remember much about Alexander, and I'm glad. I want him to grow up in a home full of honesty and trust. Sometimes I think about the past, about the mistakes we made, but I don't let those thoughts linger. We've built a new life, a better life, and I'm grateful for that. Evelyn smiles warmly at the camera.